scheme. This pension scheme, which we will be talking about. Now, this national pension scheme providing an opportunity for the retirement saving, where this is a scheme which is provided voluntary toward the employees or the subscriber of the national pension scheme. Later on, other than that, NPS is a unicentric goal product. Basically, unicentric means it is having a single goal. It is not similar to a multicentric goal product where the individuals are looking ahead to go for the purposeful investment planning for 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. It is a unicentric goal product where any of the subscriber who joins the national pension scheme would be participating for their retirement planning, which is the most important part of this generation, where we have to make sure that the year of our retirement journey should go into the right working, as well as it should be on a right journey. Now, with the national pension scheme, individual or subscriber who is above 18 years, below 70 years, anybody can join the national pension scheme for their retirement planning. And later on, this particular scheme is available for both the individual as well as the corporate employees. Over to you, Akshita. So, Akshita, I just wanted to know what are your thoughts about the national pension scheme?
Hey, hi Mridul. Looks like Akshita is facing some technical issues. So let's take it forward from here. I hope I'm clearly audible to. I'm clearly audible because my only I believe only my mic is working and my camera is not working. So we will take it from here till the time
Sorry.
Akshita
Yeah.
joins us back. So yes, Mridul, NPS happens to be one fantastic investment tool, especially when we are talking about a long-term investment. You see that NPS, the average duration in which a subscriber stays invested is minimum 15 to 20 years. So it is comparatively something which is longer than a fixed deposit, longer than a ELSS, or longer than a mutual fund investments. Now, mutual fund investments or a ELSS or a fixed deposit, it gives you a flexibility to withdraw your money at any point in time. At any moment when we need funds, we can anytime go online or go to our branch and put a request for liquidation and liquidate the funds. But NPS is one investment tool which ensures that you stay dedicatedly invested throughout your investment tenure till the time you meet the age of maturity, which is here in our case is age of 75, 60 to 75 years, right?
Right.
So we would like to term it as an ultra long term investment. Correct me if correct me if my thoughts are wrong on
No,
that.
so
If
it's correct. Definitely, it's right that it is a long-term investment planning product. And once
right,
any individual is joining for the purposeful investment planning for the retirement, he or she looks ahead
right,
for the security. And
right.
that's the thought brings that we have that retirement journey where we wanted to work it out.
Right. And look at the beauty of this investment tool, that you have an option to invest both ways. So don't look at, if we are not looking at it as an investment tool, we have two options. One is a all citizens model which was introduced in 2009, and one is a corporate model which was introduced in 2011. So a person having one single plan, like we were discussing earlier also, a person having one single plan can invest voluntarily as well as through his or her employer also. So one NPS account gives you two different benefits, and
Mhm.
it also helps you in increasing your corpus substantially over a period of time.
So basically, Pratibha, what happens here, the power of compounding works with the national pension scheme. Here,
Mm-hmm.
the power of compounding supports any of the subscriber of national pension scheme to generate the expected amount of dedicated corpus, where they would be looking ahead for the retirement goals as well as the pension planning with the same product. So
Right,
that's how that importance of power of compounding provides to the subscriber of national pension scheme.
right,
Even more about that, into the national pension scheme, individual are having that kind of a thought that they have that purpose of retirement journey. Because if we see to the life expectancy of any individual at the current
Mm-hmm.
situation, we
Mm-hmm.
have been seeing that we have enhanced with the medical facilities, we have enhanced with the terms and the technologies these days. And by these days, we can see that the earlier when it was 70, 75 years of life expectancy was there, now
Right.
it has got changed to 80, 85 years. Now you can
Absolutely.
see that after 60th, individual has to plan for next 25 years of their retirement plan.
Hmm.
Now, here's the things come. The things that we have to take an importance and to look after that how we are going to make sure that our retirement journey should be going into the well way and it should be safe and risk free, because we don't want it to get dependent on our children. We don't want it to take any kind of an exemptions for having a standard of living what we are living maintaining before
Certainly.
retirement. We wanted to continue for that. So for that basis, if I just look at the long-term investment, I choose that I have that security and safety with some product where I can go ahead for 20 years of investment planning. And
Correct.
that's how we come up to the thought of national pension scheme.
Right, right. One investment tool which gives you multiple benefits, starting
Right,
from your exceptional tax benefits, which are over and above ATC, and plus creating a simultaneously creating a pension corpus for your retirement over a period of say 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and so on. So I
exactly.
so I believe Mridul Akshita system is fixed, and I believe that she'll be able to join us now. So giving it back to Akshita, over to you.
Thank you, Pratibha. So, Mridul, so there are two types of account usually in NPS. So, can you
Yes.
please provide us the difference between what is the tier one account and what is tier two account?
Okay. So basically, in the national pension scheme, subscriber can opt out for the two types of NPS account within the single permanent retirement account number. So once any of the subscriber get registered with the national pension scheme, they have the opportunity to open tier 1 and tier 2 account. Now this tier 1 and tier 2 account, uh, can we go to the next slide, Shita? So basically, if I talk about the tier 1 NPS account, it is a default pension account. And this particular NPS tier 1 account supports the all requirements of the subscriber for their retirement planning as well as the tax benefit purposes. If I just look at the tier 1 NPS account here in the screen, which is available to you, you can see over here. Uh, yes, hold on. So Akshita, here you can see over the screen that there are two types of NPS account mentioned, tier 1 and tier 2 NPS account. Now you can understand that a single permanent retirement account number, that is PRAN number, supports the national pension scheme subscriber to get a two choices. One, they can plan for their retirement. Another, they can plan for their investment goal purposes. Now, if I talk about the tier 1 account individually first, so it is a mandatory account. An individual who is having a tier 1 NPS account would be looking ahead for the retirement planning. Okay. And until unless any individual is not having a tier 1 NPS account, so I will make sure that you won't be able to have a tier 2 NPS account. Okay. Now let's talk about the contribution into tier 1 NPS account, Akshata. So basically, if I just wanted to contribute toward the tier 1 account, I have a two options. I can contribute voluntary from my side, and even I can contribute to my employer. Because as Pratibha and we were discussing that the subscriber is also having an opportunity that they can contribute through the employer having a tax benefit on it, as well as whatever the voluntary contribution they are doing, they will be having a tax benefit on it. That's a multiple benefit which we are getting with the national pension scheme. Later on, with the national pension scheme, the registration charge is minimum 200 to 400 rupees. And if any of the individual having a tier 1 NPS account, they just have to contribute minimum of 1000 rupees on an annual basis to keep it active. So basically, once you have this NPS tier 1 account, you can start your retirement planning with a minimum of 1000 rupees as well. That's very nice of this national pension scheme provided by Government of India, that you can work it out for your retirement planning by seeing and initially looking after the national pension working. Other than that, minimum contribution which is required for National Pension Scheme Tier 1 account will be only 500 rupees. And there is no limitation to go for the contribution, but for the tax benefit purposes, under Section 80CCD1 as well as 80CCD2 as well as ATC, there is some limitation which we will be discussing on later on. Okay. Now, let's talk about the Tier 2 account. So basically, Tier 2 NPS account, as I mentioned, is a investment goal purposes. Basically, Akshita, you might be also doing about the investment goal for firstborn baby or a first education of the children or a first marriage of our children. You might have got these kinds of question from the subscriber that where we are looking ahead uh, for these kind of a purposeful investment planning. We can support them to ask for the Tier 2 NPS account once they have a Tier 1 NPS account. And once they have this Tier 2 NPS account, they can contribute voluntary toward that. And the best part about the Tier 2 account that you can invest 100% of your investment into the equity asset class. And you can easily generate 16 to 17% of the returns. But the thing is that would be no tax benefit with the NPS Tier 2 account contribution as well as whatever the return on investment you are generating. And as well as the other best part about the Tier 2 account, you don't need to uh, uh, pay a registration charge like that with the National Pension Scheme Tier 2 account. It's just a contribution of 1,000 rupees you just require to contribute, and your Tier 2 account will be active forever and which it will get paid. Okay. So how do you think about the Tier 1 and Tier 2 account, Akshita?
So I guess in tier one, where the customer is getting the benefit of tax, in tier two, there is no such limitation on the withdrawal part, and plus there is no capital gain tax, right? So here
Exactly.
there is an excellent point wherein the tier two account can be opened with the tier one account. No extra registration charges is available for the customer.
Right. So basically, all are limited charges with the National Pension Scheme, and NPS is very friendly with the cost structure. It is the only pan-India product. I can just say you over here in this webinar as well that it is the only product in pan-India which is having the least cost structure. You compare any of the products. So if I just say the financial product of Nano, so if I just say the NPS is the Tata Nano of all the financial product which is in available in the pan India because it is very chargeless. You can see here the registration is just ranging from 200 to 400 rupees. Contribution is ranging from 0.30 paise to 0.50 paise, minimum of 30 rupees. Other than that, if I just go for any support from the point of presence, like if I just come up to the HDFC Securities for any of the optation changes or scheme preference changes, I can just have to pay 30 to 35 rupees and the annual maintenance is only 69. So there are only these four charges linked with the National Pension Scheme. There are no hidden charges. And that's make this different toward the financial product in product comparing with any of the market product which is market linked product like mutual fund or SIP or if I talk about the PPF or ELSS kind of a product.
Right. Since there are different products available in the market, right? NPS is currently the best retirement option which is available. As well as the retirement planning is also a subset of a financial planning, right? So currently it is a
Right.
great option available to our subscriber to save more tax and create more wealth. Moving forward to, as we say that this is a product for tax saving, could you please focus on the tax saving part on NPS, on the investment, what amount could be saved as tax?
Sure, Akshita. So that's a nice question. That's a nice question you have asked, and let's talk about the tax benefit. Okay. So basically, in the National Pension Scheme, as I wanted to mention it again this time, that you get an opportunity to reduce your taxable income over and above ATC limit. Here in the screen, everybody, I wanted your attention toward this particular presentation. You can see there are three sections mentioned over here: ATC, ATCCD1B, and ATCCD2. So you can understand there are three baskets in the market which is providing a support for the National Pension Scheme with the National Pension Scheme to reduce your taxable income. Basically, we are well aware about the National Pension Scheme ATC section. Okay. Basically, what happens here in ATC, we are well aware that we are contributing into ELSS, PPF, life insurance, ULIP plans also comes under the same. Tax saver, FDs are also there, insurance are also there. And most of the time, we subscribers just lost the limit and we exhaust the limit of ATC sections. But since this government of India has provided two other more sections with the National Pension Scheme, ATCCD 1B and ATCCD 2, where we can understand that we can contribute voluntary for around 50,000 toward our NPS account to reduce the taxable income over and above ATC. And we also have the ATCCD 2, where we can understand that once we are with any employer and that particular employer is registered under the national pension scheme, we can contribute through our employer and reduce our taxable income over and above ATC and ATCCD 1B. But here the things is there that whether you are in new tax regime or in old tax regime, the best part that you can reduce your taxable income with the national pension scheme. With the old tax regime, you can contribute up to 10% of your basic contribution through employer. But if I come up to the corporate side, employer contribution, so where the subscriber can do the contribution through their employer, is within the new tax regime is 14% of their basic. So that's how this particular product supports to you to contribute into the national pension scheme, and where your investment will be tax exempted until that particular level.
Thank you, Mridul. So it would be great if you can explain what are the benefits in old tax regime and new tax regime for both voluntary as well as the employer contribution.
Sure. So basically, Government of India introduced the national this corporate part of national pension scheme in the year 2011, and the focus was that the employees or the subscriber who are working in the private sector, how they will be working out for their taxable income to reduce it and to work out for their retirement planning. Now, if I talk about all of these three sections, I will start again with ATC, how we can go for the contribution. And under section ATC, ATCCD1, which is in layman language, we call it ATC. It comes under only with it is only applicable with the old tax regime. It is not applicable with the new tax regime. Individual can contribute 1,50,000 rupees over here. And this 1,50,000 comprises of multiple investment product where we are also counting ELSS, mutual fund, insurance, ULIP plans, as well as EPF, PPF also we are counting. But if we have some or other space in the ATC limit, we can contribute into national pension scheme and we can come up with the ATCCD 1 in the old tax regime. Other section which is available with the old tax regime is ATCCD 1B, where voluntary contribution, as I mentioned earlier, that as a voluntary contribution, I can do 50,000 rupees on an annual basis to reduce our taxable income. Now, with the old tax regime, we also have ATCCD 2, where we can contribute 10% of our basic contribution through the employer. Okay. Then also we will be able to reduce the taxable income. Now, let's talk about the new tax regime. Now, since Government of India find out that there are no tax sections or benefit part with the new tax regime, then only our finance minister has introduced that we are having under section ATCCD2. Now, if we have the national pension scheme account, then we can shift that individual NPS account to a corporate. And once we have shifted to corporate, we can go for the employer contribution for up to 14% of basic. Okay. Once any individual does this kind of a contribution through their employer, they will be uh, they will be looking ahead to reduce their taxable income by 14% of basic contribution under section ATCCD. So now, whether you are in new tax regime or in old tax regime, you can reduce your taxable income in both the tax regimes.
Thank you, Mridul. I'm sure this is very helpful for our audience. To simplify it better, we do have an illustration which will clarify all the doubts, whether
Oh,
in
that's
old tax regime and new tax regime, how much a customer can save a tax.
sure. That would be very interesting that we can make them understand about how the tax benefit works with the salary structuring for any subscriber who are doing the contribution through their employer. Now let's take an example of 15 lakh rupees of a CTC. Okay, I want everyone's attention over this particular slide. All the attendees, I want attentions. Now, if let's talk about initially with the old tax regime. First, suppose I'm having a CTC of 15 lakh rupees and my employer has distributed the part. And this is just an example. In this particular salary structuring will differ employer to employer. I just wanted to give this information before starting any of the things. So now let's talk about the old tax regime. For suppose I'm having a 15 lakh rupees of a CTC. My basic come across 7 lakh 50,000 rupees approx, and my other taxable allowance and the perks part comes around 7 lakh 50,000 rupees. As an example, I'm just supposing it, and on an approx basis, 7 lakh 50,000 rupees. Now, if I'm not having an NPS with me, I'm only having under section 80C where I can reduce the taxable income. I will contribute into multiple investment product in the market and I will reduce my taxable income without NPS. But now the thing is that we have that particular product and everyone is now well aware about the national pension scheme because it has been highly um, highlighted by the government of India and everybody is taking uh, a step forward for their retirement planning. So now this retirement planning product national pension scheme has been worked out very nicely. Now, since I have an NPS account, I can reduce my taxable income, as I mentioned with you in the previous slide as well, that I can do the contribution through the employer as well as voluntary. Now, if you can see in the screen, if I just talk about the deduction part in the scene, the standard deduction of a 50,000 rupees happens with every corporate employees. Okay, where the general medical insurance and the allowances and the perks part comes under. Going ahead, we are also in the new old tax regime. We have this 1,50,000 rupees, okay, under section 80C, where, as I mentioned, multiple contribution financial product comes under. Now, if I talk about 80CCD2, which is an employer contribution, basically the subscriber has to share an information to their employer that what percent of basic they wanted to contribute toward their NPS account through them. So they just need to inform to 10% of their basic or below that amount, below that percent of basic contribution, they can also initiate. Okay. So basically you can see here that if I am just choosing to contribute 10% of the basic, I will inform my employer and my employer will deduct the part of my other part of my basic salary. Okay, it could be anything. It could be my other taxable allowances or perks or whatever. It is the employer's part how they will be choosing to reduce from the other part of the basic. So you can see here my 10% of the basic got reduced from 7 lakh 50,000 rupees. That brings 6 lakh 75,000 rupees with NPS, and on the below, you can see under section 80CCD2 in the box only, you can see 75,000 rupees has got reduced and it comes to my NPS account directly. Over and above that, we have voluntary contribution of 50,000 rupees, which is available with the old tax regime that we can contribute 50,000 rupees. Here now you can see that I have reduced my taxable income from 15 lakh to 11 lakh 75,000 rupees. You can see that I'm able to save the tax of around more than 38 to 42,000 rupees with the investing into the national pension scheme in the old tax regime. Okay. Now let's talk about the new tax regime. Now, as I mentioned, under Section 80C as well as 80CCD1B doesn't works with the new tax regime. There is only and only Section 80CCD2 that comes under the contribution which subscriber can do through their employer. Okay, so here let's come back again to the CTC part. Let's suppose again I am having a salary bracket of 15 lakh rupees CTC. Again, I have chosen now the new tax regime. Once I have chosen the new tax regime, I can ask or inform my employer to contribute 14% of the basic. Okay. Here you can see that I have reduced my other taxable allowances or the perks part, which is other than basic. And I have contributed through my employer for around 1 lakh 5,000 rupees for all of my 14% of basic contribution. Now you can see that I have reduced my taxable income from 15 lakh rupees to 13 lakh 20,000 rupees. And here also in the new tax regime, I'm saving the tax of around more than 17 to 18,000 rupees till 2028, 25,000 rupees. So as per the structuring of the salary, any individual would be or any subscriber would be able to reduce their taxable income choosing the national pension scheme. So while planning for your retirement, you can also have the chance to reduce your taxable income. That's the best part about the national pension scheme. So
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to know, yeah, Akshita. So I just wanted to know, are you planning for the retirement, Akshita?
Yes, definitely. So as early I start, I will get a more retirement corpus, right? So it's
Exactly.
better to start saving tax and create a retirement corpus as well.
Other than that, just wanted to know, I was a bit curious that what tax regime you are choosing, Akshita.
So I guess it's the new tax regime where we have the more option available, where you can contribute up to 14% through your corporate, right?
Yes, so this is option which is available for the subscriber who is under the corporate, who is working with the employer. They can choose for the 14% of basic contribution to through their employer. But that's, I would say that that's the best part. And are you contributing through your employer, Akshita?
Yes, definitely. Since we are
Oh, that's
promoting NPS, I am contributing in NPS. So going forward, can you explain what are the investment choice available to our investors? What are the
sure.
different asset class where the amount will get diversified and the subscriber will get the returns accordingly?
Okay. So basically, here in the national pension scheme, we have four asset classes. And while introducing the national pension scheme, it is the market-linked product actually. And Government of India introduced the four of these asset classes to make sure that the subscriber who is joining them shouldn't have the maximum risk and shouldn't have that kind of a thing that they could lose their funds which they are investing with. So Government of India introduced here four asset classes, which is named as an asset class E, that is equity investment, asset class C, which is corporate bond investment, and asset class G, which is a government securities, and asset class A, which is alternate investment funds. These alternate investment fund goes toward the management bill or mortgage or real estate. So basically, REITs are the major part of the alternate investment funds, where the where the subscriber are getting a choice to invest only 5% of that of their total investment amount. Other than that, if any individual wanted to change the asset allocation percentage or they wanted to choose other different particular choice of investment option, they can also do it four times in a year.
So I was wondering, Mridul, what are the returns which the subscriber get? Usually in equity, there is a high return, high risky and high volatility. What are the returns a subscriber will get within a time horizon?
So basically, on an average, if I just talk about since inception, I have seen that I have been with this product from past decade, and now I have seen that the subscribers are who have joined the uh, NPS for more than from since 2009 or 2011 or 2015. Since inception, they are generating average return of 14 to 15% with their asset allocation percentage, managing the pension fund manager as per their choices. They have been actively being the part of the national pension scheme, and on an average basis, by choosing the right investment allocation percentage, they are able to generate 13 to 14% of the returns.
Well, that's great. So similar to mutual funds over here, the subscriber will get the units, right? So when the market is
Definitely.
down, they do have an option of voluntary contribution where they can do a lump sum, or there is an option available called SIP, right? So they can also start an SIP in NPS and get their investment average at out.
Exactly. So we have that facility with the national pension scheme as well, that individual can do a support workout for their SIP contribution when they are looking ahead to contribute on a monthly basis, as well as they are looking ahead to go for an incremented investment toward their NPS account.
So
Sorry.
in this, do we have any flexibility to choose the option? There are what are the choices available?
Sure. So basically, in NPS, to invest into all the four asset classes, we have to choose either of the choices, whether it is an active or auto or balanced life cycle. So let me start with the active choice. So basically, in the active choice, I personally call it as a freedom of a choice because I have to choose the investment allocation percentages with all the four asset class: equity, corporate bond, and government securities and alternate investment funds. But here in the active choice, the investment toward equity is restricted till 75%. Rest 25% I have to divide between a corporate bond and government securities. And alternate investment is also restricted to 5% only. Okay. But if any subscriber joining at their late age, for suppose if I'm joining, if there is an individual or subscriber who is joining after 50 or 52, they don't wanted to take risk in the market to get hold of their investment into the equity. So they can also choose an active choice and put their 100% of their investment toward government securities and the corporate bond, where they will be also having the chance to easily generate around 10 to 11% of ROI. And it will be the completely safe and risk-free returns till their retirement. And again, they have the choices that they can work it out for the uh, over and above retirement age. They can also continue with their same asset allocation percentages as well as retirement planning. So active choice, as I mentioned, it is a freedom of a choice. You can invest 75% in equity maximum, and rest you can divide. Other than that, if you have that kind of a thought that you don't want it to make a risk to all of the equity investment allocation, you can change it. You can make a shifting, and you can work out for your asset allocation percentage for corporate bonds and government securities.
So I guess active choice is a great option to one who wants to manage their own funds with the contribution, right?
Yeah, so the subscriber who is knowing and he's well aware about his own risk appetite, and he knows that how amount of diversification he has made with other financial product and how he wanted to work out with their national pension scheme, they can choose active choice. And until unless they don't change the percentage of allocation, it will be same as they have mentioned, as they have taken.
So the second choice which is available to our subscriber is the auto choice. It's more of like a basket investment wherein
Exactly.
the funds get transferred according to the risk appetite. Subscriber can choose any one of the basket.
So basically, I wanted to mention here, Akshita, that auto choice is basically an automatic mode. As a name, you can understand this auto choice, that is an automatic mode. And it is for those subscriber who is completely occupied with their personal work and the professional work and how they wanted to work out for their retirement planning. So basically, retirement planning is now a major part of any of the subscriber. So how they wanted to work with their investment with NPS, they can choose auto choice of investment planning since they are occupied multiple times and they are not able to check back again how their investment is going with the national pension scheme. So here the auto choice provide them a three life cycle. One is aggressive, another is the corporate bond, and third is the conservative life cycle. Okay. Now, as per the name, you can understand here back again that aggressive, that means I wanted to take a high risk, but I also wanted a high returns on it. But now, if I talk about moderate, I wanted to take a moderate risk and I wanted to go with the moderate returns. So, same way it will happen that if I'm taking a high risk, I just wanted to invest maximum percentage of my investment toward equity asset class. Okay. Now, if I talk about the moderate choice, I wanted to take a half of my risk for half of risk for my investment toward equity asset class. Now with the conservative, same happens here, low risk, low return. So that means I would be taking a low risk to invest 25% of only my investment toward equity, and rest 75% I will divide between a corporate bond and government securities.
So how does the life cycle in auto choice work? When does my investment get changes? On my birthday, at starting of the year, mid of the year? How does it get changed?
So yes, so basically what happens here that auto choice of investment planning works on an automatic mode, as I mentioned, and up to 35 years of your age, once you are chosen this auto choice, you want to have, you also, once you chose any of the life cycle, if you have chosen, so for suppose you have chosen an aggressive life cycle. So till 35 years of your age, your asset allocation percentage will be 75% toward equity, 10 with the corporate bond and 15 with the government securities. And it will be same till 35 years. And once you go above 35, you reach to 36, you reach to 40, you reach to 45, you can see that your equity allocation is going toward downside on an every yearly basis. So once ever your date of birth comes up, that on that particular day, T plus 4 day, your asset allocation percentage will get revised every year after 35, whether you are in moderate choice or you are in conservative life cycle. And that will support, because I have been seeing that by after 35 you reach to older age, there is a less chance that subscriber would be able to recover the losses in their equity market. And that's how the NPS trust share the risk-free and safe returns from the national pension scheme, and they have designed this auto choice of investment planning as per that way, that after 35 your equity allocation will automatically go toward downside, but your corporate bond and government securities allocation will go toward a higher side.
So I'm sure the auto choice is great for those who want to be safe with their risk. There's an
Yeah.
option also available called balance, wherein most of the amount up to the 45 years can be invested in the equity market, right?
So basically, balanced life cycle has got recently introduced, Akshita. So this has been provided that subscriber who are looking to take a risk, but they wanted to a safety as well. So basically, we come up with the balanced life cycle. Here, what happens that we come up with the 50% of my investment in equity till 45th years of my age, until 45th years of my equity investment will be at 50%, and rest corporate bond will be around 30% and 20% toward the government securities, providing me the return on investment as per my expectation. Once I go above 45 years, so I reach to 50, 55, it is similar to like auto choice. But the thing will happen here that I will be reducing the asset allocation percentage from both equity as well as the corporate bond with 2%. But other than that, my government allocation percentage will increase by 4% after 45 every year till my retirement date. That is my superannuation age. Yes, so that's an screen that I was speaking about, that after 45, you can see that after my 50% asset allocation with the equity has got reduced to 35% by 55 and beyond. And my corporate bond and government securities, you can see, is with the corporate bond, you can see that 2% also decrease in the corporate bond. But with the government securities, you can see that I initially after 45, my government allocation is also changing and it is going toward an higher side till my 55, my 55% of the investment will go to the uh, government securities, providing me the safety to get a ROI from my NPS investments.
Thank you, Mridul, for giving the understanding of what are the investment choices available to the subscriber. My next question is, who manages the funds for NPS?
Okay. So basically, NPS has government of India basically has introduced first three pension fund manager initially in the year 2008. So first three were SBI, UTI, and LIC. And I just wanted to bring this attention that in the old tax regime, we were having the fixed return on invest return percentage. But with the new tax regime, with the new uh, pension scheme, government of India has introduced. Sorry, I just said the old tax regime. It is the old pension scheme which I was speaking about. That in the old pension scheme, it is was the fixed return on investment which we are generating. But with the new pension scheme, government of India introduced the pension fund manager. Basically, these are the pension fund manager who will be investing the corpus of subscriber toward four of the asset classes which we have discussed in the previous slides. Okay. Now the first three pension fund manager which were introduced were SBI, UTI, and LIC. Okay. And later on, Government of India introduced eight more pension fund managers. Okay. The eight more were Aditya Birla, Axis, HDFC Pension, ICICI, Kotak, as well as Tata Pension, Max Life, and DSP Pension. Now, individual or the subscriber has the option to check the fund performance of every of these pension fund manager in the NPS Trust website. Since NPS Trust is basically a monitoring body or stakeholder, you can say this is the major stakeholder for the monitoring of funds which are lying with the pension fund managers. So this NPS Trust shares the Nifty 200 stocks to these pension fund managers on a daily basis to provide subscriber a safety and risk-free returns from equity market. Rest comes the corporate bond and government securities where these pension fund managers are investing. Other than that, the subscriber can choose now a multiple pension fund manager with their multiple asset classes. So it is not like earlier that have to choose a single pension fund manager for all my asset classes. I can choose a multiple pension fund manager for all my asset classes.
So I guess this is very good that the PFMs are managed by PFRDA, right? So it is
Right.
regulated by PFRDA, and there is an option given to the subscriber. If he don't like the performance of the PFM, he can change the PFM once in a financial year, right?
Yes. Right. So it is the two thing where I just wanted to inform everyone that set allocation percentage and the investment choice of options can be worked out 4 times in a year, but the pension fund manager comes on a different side. You can only change the pension fund manager once in a year.
Okay.
Okay.
So coming to the liquidity part, what amount will be exempted from tax when I liquidate or when I take an exit from NPS?
Okay. So basically, if I talk about the tax benefit, so NPS is the only product in Pan India which is triply tax exempted. The investment in the national pension scheme is tax free. And once I go for a return on investment in the NPS, that is also tax free. And once I go for a withdrawal from my NPS account, that will be also tax free. Now, talking about the withdrawal part. So, my first of the withdrawal which is available, that is partial withdrawal in the NPS, which is available with the Tier 1 NPS account. So, in the partial withdrawal, my 25% of individual contribution, what I am just withdrawing it, that is completely tax free. Okay. When I go to the premature exit, so basically, if I'm going for the early retirement here and I'm choosing to withdraw my corpus amount, and due to someone or other unfortunate event or any kind of a thing may happen. So I wanted to take an early retirement. I can have that thing as well with the national pension scheme. Here, the 20% of premature exit corpus amount which I am withdrawing, that will be completely tax free. Now with the 60% of corpus, when I am at my maturity, so basically where my NPS account will get matured, it and the lock-in will end up. Here, what will happen that 60% of the corpus which I am withdrawing lump sum, that is also tax free. There will be no taxability which is applicable for all of these three withdrawals.
All right. So since you mentioned about the partial withdrawal, are there any condition for partial withdrawal in NPS?
Yes, so basically it is similar to like PF withdrawals, Akshita, and basically any of the investment planning product which has been came up in Pan India, it has been seen that there is kind of an emergency which may come occur, and in this case, any subscriber can also opt to choose the partial withdrawal. In the partial withdrawal, what happens here that if any subscriber complete 3 years after the registration, they can choose for a partial withdrawal. Maximum of 25% of their voluntary contribution can be withdrawn. So basically, whatever the contribution the subscriber is doing through their employer, as well as what subscriber is generating the return on investment, that's not being added over there. Okay. So whatever the voluntary contribution I am doing from my side toward my NPS account, 25% of it I would be allowed to withdraw. And in a whole tenure of NPS from my registration till retirement, and 3 times only, I am allowed to go for a partial withdrawal facility.
Since you mentioned this is only for the voluntary contribution, right? So what are the
Right.
options available for the corporate contribution? If any subscriber want to take an exit or a withdrawal, what option is available from them?
So basically, in the partial withdrawal, the contribution which I am doing through my employer, that's not being added. Okay. But now, let's take the other exit part with the national pension scheme, that is a premature exit, which is other than partial withdrawal. So basically, once I complete 5 years after the registration, I am allowed for the premature exit in the national pension scheme. Now, in the premature exit, what happens here that if I have accumulated 2,50,000 rupees in my NPS account and I am going for an early retirement, then I can withdraw complete 2,50,000 rupees. Okay. And it will be completely tax free. 100% corpus will be tax free. Now, if I have accumulated more than 2,50,000 rupees, here what will happen? 20% of lump sum corpus amount which I am withdrawing, that will be tax free, as I have mentioned in the previous slide. But rest 80% of the corpus amount which I'm having, I have to contribute toward the annuity service provider. Here, the annuity service provider will support me for my pension planning, which could support my monthly income or as well as the medical expenses or as well as the standard of living. That's how my pre-retirement care uh, will be at the safety and the security.
All right. So at the age of 60, what option do I have? Whether I can extend my investment after the age of 60 or I have to take a compulsory exit from NPS?
So Akshita, here what happens in the exit of on maturity once I have reached my superannuation? For suppose I have reached my superannuation on my 60th. Before my 60th coming, before 90th day, I will get a notification from the Protean e-governance. Okay, that notice will be whether I wanted to continue till 65, 70 or 75. That's a maximum I can go with. Or I wanted to defer my contribution or corpus amount till 65, 70 or 75. It's my option. But I can't do this thing that I can defer my annuity and I can withdraw my lump sum withdrawal. I can't do that. I can withdraw the lump sum amount and I defer my annuity. Any one thing has to be chosen, that you can go for a deferment for whole corpus amount or you can have a continuation for whole corpus amount. Now, once you complete this 60 days, after that, you will get a form of exit. Once you fill that exit form, you will be provided an option to choose the annuity service provider as well as the lump sum withdrawal part. Okay. Now, if I have accumulated just 5 lakh rupees in my NPS account at my retirement age, what will happen here that I can withdraw complete 5 lakh rupees. But if I have accumulated more than 5 lakh rupees, then what will happen here? Here, the 60% of the corpus amount I can withdraw tax free. Okay. And the 40% corpus amount, what will happen here? I will have to give to the annuity service provider to start my pension. Now, this 60% of the corpus amount will support the or will support my retirement goal. Now, if I'm not having a retirement goal, I can choose to SLW, that which is called systematic lump sum withdrawal, which is very nice and which is very trending these days. And I wanted to bring information to you, Akshita, that SLW has been providing a chance to withdraw the corpus amount on a monthly basis as well as quarterly basis or as well as yearly basis also we can choose. Other than that, it is also providing me an option to generate 10 to 11% of the ROI from my same investment amount. So that's the best part, that if I'm not looking ahead to choose to withdraw whole corpus amount, I can choose again to reinvest with the NPS, with the SLW, and safely and risk-free, I will be generating 9 to 10% of the ROI over here.
Right. It's a
With the
great
40%,
feature.
yeah,
It got introduced lately, right? So within the 60%, they can go like a monthly pension they will get, and it would be tax free. The same amount can be reinvested and they can gain more profit out of
ROI.
it, right?
Right. And that's how the big difference comes with the national pension scheme, that the government is taking an initiative for every kind of a thing with the national pension scheme. While their registration, while generating the contribution, and while coming up to the pension phase, they are supporting the subscriber at each phase with one or any stakeholders in the market. You can see here that once any subscriber go for the contribution, he is choosing a POP for their guidance, support, as well as their issue resolutions. Once they reach to once they wanted for the return on investment, they choose the pension fund manager for that. Whole of these stakeholders supporting every subscriber to go ahead for their retirement planning with safe and safety, security.
So in premature exit as well as in maturity, you have mentioned about the annuity, right? Can you explain
Right.
what are the different annuity option given to the subscriber at the time of taking an exit?
Yes. So basically, annuity service provider will provide you a multiple contract. You choose any of it. Okay. Basically, you can go for the pension planning for 15 years, 20 years. As I mentioned, there is a 25-year of life expectancy after the retirement. But I can say that if any individual wanted to choose the contract for 15 years, 20 years, they can go ahead for that. But now, if I just talk about the annuity plan, which are basically being with most of the subscriber of national pension scheme, so there are two differences over here. One is with return of purchase price and another is the without return of purchase price. For suppose I have, no, I just wanted to ask you, Akshita, what would be the expected corpus amount you are looking at your retirement so that I can
Let's
just
say
make you an.
suppose my retirement corpus at the time of taking an exit at the age of 60 is 25 lakhs. So what is
Okay.
the annuity which will I get if I select 60% withdrawal and 40% I'll purchase an annuity for?
Okay, so basically you have chosen to for a 60% withdrawal. That means you are choosing to withdraw around 12.5 lakh rupees. Rest you are looking ahead around 11 lakh something. Sorry, 12, 14, 15 lakh rupees you are looking ahead for the 60% lump sum tax-free withdrawal, and rest 7 to 8 lakh rupees you are looking ahead to invest with the annuity service provider. Now here in the annuity service provider, your 8 lakh would be the purchase price of annuity. Comes with the two choices here, with return of purchase price and another is without return of purchase price. Now if I'm choosing a with return of purchase price, I get three options. Annuity for life, where initially subscriber will generate the pension amount. You will generate the pension amount out of your 8 lakh rupees of corpus. After your demise, the annuitant amount, the purchase price amount, that is 8 lakh rupees, will be provided to the nominee or to the legal hire. Now, if I go with the joint life, what will happen here? Initially, subscriber will generate the pension. After the demise of subscriber, the pension will be carried forward to the spouse, and after her demise, the annuitant amount will be provided to the legal hire or the nominee, what you have chosen in the contract. Now, if I go with the NPS family income, initially subscriber get the pension. After the demise of subscriber, the spouse. After the demise of a spouse, the dependent mother. After the demise of dependent mother, the dependent father will get the pension. After their demise, the annuitant amount will be provided to the legal hire or the nominee. Now let's come up to the without return of purchase price. Basically, here in the without return of purchase price, you generate more pension amount, but that the thing is there. I will just give you a sort of example here, that in without return of purchase price, there are two options again. Annuity for life, where you can choose to get the pension initially to the subscriber, and after the demise of subscriber, there will be no further payment payable. Okay, because you have chosen without return of purchase price. Now, if I go with the joint life annuity, same here will happen. Initially, subscriber will get the pension amount, and after the demise of subscriber, the spouse will get the pension amount. And after her demise, there will be no further payment payable with the without return of purchase price, because you will be generating the return on investment on a monthly basis of annuity return. So whatever the annuity return percentage you have chosen initially, that percentage of monthly income you will generate at your after your retirement. So that's how
Okay.
it works with the annuity plans, and it might be possible by going uh, ahead in the future. It might be possible there might be some more annuity plans which will get introduced by the government of India, supporting the pension planning of any subscriber.
Right. Thank you, Mridul. So you explained it beautifully. Since
Yes.
like investing in NPS, we do have an option of selecting different PFMs, right? So what about annuity? From whom we need to purchase the annuity? And is there any flexibility in choosing the annuity, whether we can change it once we have purchased?
Yeah, so basically you can choose the annuity service provider from your side. It's there are 15 annuity service provider which has been provided by the government of India for the national pension scheme. And each of these annuity service provider, you have to mention it by yourself. And once this annuity service provider you have selected and your pension has got started, you are not allowed to change the annuity service provider. Okay. So once you have selected, so that's how you have to choose wisely for while before choosing the annuity service provider, the return on purchase, whatever you have been choosing. Okay. So that's how your annuity service provider will work out for your pension planning with the national pension scheme.
All right. So in case of that, you have mentioned in annuity, there are different plans available wherein if whatever the plan is selected by the subscriber, the amount will go accordingly to the nominee, right? What happens if there is an unfortunate
Wait.
event, okay, for
So
the subscriber
basically,
before
yeah,
maturity?
that's a nice question. That's a nice question, Akshita, because most of the subscriber have got a wrong information that NPS blocks their fund. NPS will not provide them funds. Government of India take all of the fund and they won't give you back. But it doesn't happen so. I just wanted to clarify this thing very clearly to every subscriber who are here and every attendees that whatever the corpus or you have generated, each and every single penny, what have been you have invested, the hard-earned amount, earned amount will be provided back to you or to your nominee. Now let's come up to the withdrawal in the demise. There are two phases in NPS. Before maturity comes a contribution phase. After maturity comes a pension phase. Before maturity, if any subscriber got into an unfortunate event, the nominee you have selected in the registration form will be benefited. All of your corpus amount will be provided to them. But in a pension phase, if any of the subscriber got demised, the contract you have chosen with the annuity service provider, he or she will be carried forward the pension amount, or the choice of contract you have chosen that will work out for them with the pension phase in the after maturity.
I would like to also add in that whatever the amount the nominee in the legal heir will get, it would be exempted from tax under Succession Act. So that
Yes.
amount would not be taxed at all.
And that seems nice, Akshita, that individual get a tax benefit over their annuity plans. And once after their corpus amount has been provided, that will be also tax free. The relatives shouldn't be having any kind of burdens with them that they have to work it out for any other chances and working for their investment.
Okay. Thank you, Mridul. So we have explained all the benefits and the basic features of NPS wherein the customer will get. So now if any customer is not having any NPS account, they wish to open the account, I'll be mentioning all the dedicated help desk number as well as the link of account opening in the chat box. Also would like to inform you that this account opening journey is very seamless. You can open the NPS account within 10 minutes. It's a digital journey where you have to upload your KYC documents and you can open the account. Now we can open the floor for the questions.
Yeah, sure. So,
Mridul, I can see there are a number of queries related to the tax benefit, whether in old tax regime and new tax regime. So let's go back to the illustration. All right.
yeah, sure. Yeah, that's nice. We can work out. So, Akshita, I was telling that let's bring out this information back again, how the tax benefit part works with the national pension scheme. Um, so, in the national pension scheme, we have three taxable sections where we can work out for reducing our taxable income. We are aware about ATC. where we can are contributing into multiple financial product in the market to reduce our taxable income. Okay. Now we have the National Pension Scheme account. We can go ahead for two more sections, 80CCD 1B and 80CCD. Coming up to the 80CCD 1B, in the old tax regime only it is available. Okay. In the old tax regime, you can contribute 50% toward your NPS account, voluntary. You will get a tax benefit under section 80 CCD 1B. Okay, over and above 80C. So whatever I would be saying under section 80 CCD 1B or 2, it is over and above 80C. So although you are getting a tax benefit in the old tax regime with the 80C limit, but in the 80C limit, you are also having a 80 CCD 1B where you can contribute voluntary for the tax benefit. But over and above 80 CCD 1B, now any subscriber chosen to contribute through his or her employer, so basically, her or his employer will support them to reduce their taxable income. The subscriber just need to inform their employer that in the old tax regime, they can inform if they have chosen the old tax regime, they can inform up to 10% of basic contribution, that maximum of 10% of basic contribution they can do. Once they inform their employer, they will be able to contribute through their employer, and their employer will deduct the part of that salary and credit their NPS account on a monthly basis, supporting them to reduce their taxable income under section 80 CCD. Now let's talk about the new tax regime. In the new tax regime, there is only a section 80 CCD 2 where the employee or the subscriber can contribute only through their employer. The voluntary contribution is not available in the new tax regime. The ATC section is not available in new tax regime. Only and only 80CCD2 is available. In this 80CCD2, subscriber will get a chance to contribute up to 14% of their basic. And recently it has got introduced by our finance minister in the budget, July, uh, Nirmala Sitharaman. So that's how any subscriber would be able to reduce their taxable income in both the tax regime, old and new. In the new, they can go for a 14% basic contribution under section 80 CCD2. In old, they can go for a contribution of 10% of basic contribution through their employer. And this 80 CCD2, it has the capping of 7.5 lakh rupees. So basically, you can understand your PF contribution, your superannuation contribution also goes to this 80 CCD2 only. Okay, which is being contributed through the employer. Okay. And in old tax regime, we are also having 80CCD 1B and 80C section. So Akshita, how you gonna make the contribution whether you are in new tax regime, as I mentioned earlier as well?
So through the corporate, because I am following a new tax regime, I can contribute up to 14% of my basic and can save the tax up to 7.5 lakhs financial year.
Exactly. So
Okay,
basically, it
going
is
for
a capping of 7.5 lakh rupees. So I will just like to give an example over here, Akshita, to you, that if any individual is having a basic salary of 32 lakh to 34 lakh, I'm just talking about the basic salary. I'm not talking about the whole CTC. I'm just talking about the basic. If any subscriber is having a basic salary of 32 to 34 lakh, he or she will be only able to go for crossing the limit of cap 7.5 lakh rupees. Now let's give an example to our attendees that for suppose I am having a 10 lakh rupees of a CTC. Okay. Here, the maximum I can go with the 7.5 lakh rupees. For suppose I'm having a basic of 10 lakh rupees, for suppose. Okay. 10% I can contribute through the employer in the old tax regime. That means 1 lakh rupees I would be able to contribute through the employer. 14% would be able to contribute through the employer in new tax regime. So for suppose 1,40,000 rupees I have contributed. Now, other than that, I am also getting a PF contribution through my employer, which is around 6%. Okay. Now, 6% comprises from 10%, 10 lakh rupees only. So, for suppose 6% is 60,000 rupees in the um, 60,000 rupees. Now you can see here in the old tax regime, you have contributed 1 lakh rupees under section 80 CCD 2 for 10% of basic. PF contribution 60,000 rupees you have done. That means around 1 lakh 60,000 rupees you have contributed. Superannuation fund comes around 3 to 4% as per the corporate to corporate varies. Employer to employer it varies. So basically you can see if I'm having a 10 lakh rupees of a basic, I am able to have reach out to 2 lakh rupees of contribution under section 80 CCD 2. Still, I am having 5 lakh rupees of a contribution which is left where I can contribute and work out.
Okay. So the next question from our attendees is, can they convert their existing NPS account into the corporate NPS account?
Sure, they can go ahead for that if and only if corporate is registered under the national pension scheme.
Okay. We do also have question regarding the balanced life cycle fund, which was recently launched.
Yes. So here it is very simple. It is similar to like auto choice of investment planning. Basically what happens in the balanced life cycle, that subscriber is getting to invest into the equity, corporate bond and government securities till 45 years of the age. It will be same. Okay, so that means in the balanced life cycle what will be happening, my 50% of the investment will go to equity, rest 50%, that is 30, will go to the corporate and 20 will go to the government securities. Okay, in the balanced life cycle. Other than that, in the balanced life cycle, up to 45 years, it will be same as I mentioned. After 45 years, okay, I reach to 46, 50, 55. My equity allocation in the corporate bond allocation will automatically change every year to 2% reduced, decreased percentage. But my government investment will increase by 4% on an every year. So that's how on an automatic basis, this particular change of asset allocation percentage will happen by growing of my year.
So we have question from Miss Sai. What is the fee for account opening? So the account opening fee, Miss Sai, is 400 plus GST. So you can open the account online, and while making the contribution payment, you can make the payment for account opening charges as well.
Okay, Akshita, I just wanted to interrupt you here. There is one question I have seen in the chat box that individual Mari Muthu query, he has asked, employer contribution is over and above CTC. So, Mr. Marimuthi, if you are working with the government, central government or the state government, yes, you would be having that chance. If you are with the non-government corporates, I would say that it is not over and above CTC, and subscriber has that chance to contribute to their employer from their own salary. Your employer would be just a facilitator or the supporting body who would be supporting you to contribute through them. So it is not over and above CTC.
So we do have a question regarding how the subscriber can make a contribution. So we have provided the link in the chat box through which you can make the contribution in both tier 1 and tier 2 account. As well as you can also go on the CRA website and make the payment for your contribution.
Okay.
So
Anything else?
we have a question from Dr. Sandeep. Annuity is invested in which sector?
So basically, it's an annuity service provider, what they are choosing. It can be anything. As of now, if I just know annuity service provider are not sharing these kinds of information that where they are investing the funds in the market. While choosing the annuity service provider, you can ask the relationship manager that where the annuity service provider will be investing uh, your funds uh, toward bringing you the pension amount from your corpus.
We have a question from Mr. Shudhanshu. Where scheme we can change or we have to take it up through corporate? So I guess Mr. Shudhanshu is asking related the investment choice, wherein how can they change?
where we can change or we have to take up through the corporate. No, so basically here, Sudhanshu, what happens that you have the NPS application which is readily available in Play Store as well as Apple Store. Okay, so Protean's application is readily available, and you also have a web access for that same. Now, once you log in with your permanent retirement account number, you will be able to monitor and manage your NPS account from there itself. Okay. There, once you enter into your login dashboard, you will be able to change your pension fund manager scheme preferences, choice of allocation percentage by yourself. Okay. Further, if you wanted a support from your relationship manager or from the HDFC Securities, you can share this information to your relationship manager from HDFC Securities. He will be supporting you to provide you the form or the options how you would be able to go ahead for the change of a scheme preference.
There are more questions available in the chat box, Mridul, regarding superannuation. I guess the audience has been confused between what is superannuation and NPS. Is it same or it is different?
So basically, it is different. National Pension Scheme is completely a retirement planning product, and superannuation is basically uh, employer's choice to provide the employee the benefit over for their working as well as for their retirement as well as for their retirement. Here, what happens is that employer provides the facility to those employee who are completing 5 years. So you just need to check with your employer that superannuation fund is available or not available with the organization or not. Okay. So basically, that also supports the subscriber for their retirement benefit. Basically, by their retirement, they will get that particular fund for the utilization or for their retirement goal purposes. And basically, the thing is here that superannuation fund, most of the subscriber who is choosing who have the superannuation fund, they have been shifting their superannuation funds to the national pension scheme account because they will be able to watch their corpus amount. They are able to see what are the benefit they would be generating for their investments.
Uh, So, so we do have a question like it is like the gratuity. The NPS investment is more like a gratuity.
No, no, no. It's gratuity is completely different from the superannuation fund. Superannuation fund
So
supports
this is a
you.
voluntary
So
kind of
gratuity you
investment where
can
you can
so
contribute.
gratuity I wanted to say that it is a reward for the service you have provided to your employer. What's employer supports you to provide you after your retirement or after completion of 5 years. It's a different, completely different from the superannuation. Basically, superannuation is a benefit what employer is providing to their employees and for their long-term journey with the corporate, and they are looking ahead for the retirement benefit with the same. That's how the super and basically the superannuation fund gratuity comes with the larger corporates as well as for the government government organizations. They have that particular facility for their employees to work out for their gratuity or for their gratuity or their working for retirement benefits, you can say.
So I'd like to thank all our audiences to join this session, and this recording will be available on our YouTube channel. As well as if you have any queries, I have mentioned the dedicated help desk number and the email ID wherein you can write to or you can call or on customer support. Okay, and your queries, I'm sure it will be addressed. Thank you all for joining this session. And also, I would like to thank Ms. Mridul to share the valuable insights on NPS, its features and benefit. So
Thank you
we'll
so much,
be,
Akshita, for
thank you,
inviting
Mridul.
me to be the part of this wonderful webinar. where on a live basis we are introducing the national pension scheme. And definitely, I also wanted to thank all the attendees who have brought some time from their busy schedule toward this webinar. Thank you so much, Akshita, for the same that you have initiated this particular, taken this initiative to introduce and initiate this awareness about the national pension scheme. Thank you so much. And the team, thank you so much who have been the part of this particular webinar. And thank you, Pratibha ma'am, to being a part initially with me for this introduction of National Pension Scheme. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mridul. Thanks, Akshita. This was a wonderful session, and we are hopeful that our audiences loved it. And we look forward for having many more sessions with you two together. Thanks a ton.
Sure,
Have a lovely weekend.
sure, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll now take a leave, and further any information or any guidance you guys require from my side, please Akshita, let me know. And please Pratibha ma'am, please invite me again to have this part of webinar, and we'll go ahead with the positive way of doing this webinar sessions for generating an awareness as well as providing information to all our subscriber of National Pension Scheme, removing the myths of National Pension Scheme from the minds of any of the subscribers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.